Coming up on Global Business, Empowering Growth, China's National Development and Reform Commission hosts meeting in Zhejiang to propel private economy and continue the innovation history for a new era. Strong revival. We take a closer look at the emerging new Chinese-style economy that is driven by young generation's fascination of traditional culture-based products. And we zoom in on the American real estate market as the NAR settles lawsuits on commission inflation. Hello and welcome to this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Lulu Lu in Beijing. Chinese Premier Li Qiang said at a State Council meeting on Friday that China will take measures to diffuse debt risks of financing platforms. He added that steps should be taken to strictly prevent the risk of newly added debts. The meeting also studied how to build a credit service platform to further facilitate the financing of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Well, the private sector in China plays a crucial role in the country's economy, accounting for 60% of its GDP and generating 80% of new urban jobs. The National Development and Reform Commission established a dedicated bureau last year to promote and support the private sector. The bureau recently organized a conference in the bustling city of Wenzhou. Cheng Mengfei reports.
At this factory in the suburb of Wenzhou, hundreds of thousands of valves that control the flow of water are being made each day. Business has been good for this medium-sized private enterprise. Production increased by almost 40% in the first 2 months of the year, thanks to robust domestic and export demands. They have few headaches, except for land. Wenzhou's mountainous terrain leaves little space for factories to expand. Many companies had moved away for this reason. Concerns such as this were voiced by representatives from private companies at a meeting held by a special bureau within the National Development and Reform Commission, or NDRC. The Private Economy Development Bureau is tasked with establishing a mechanism for regular communication with private enterprises, coordinating efforts to solve major problems concerning the development of the private economy, according to NDRC. The event held in Wenzhou follows similar events held in Wuxi and Jinjiang, all in East China where private economy dominates. Wenzhou had pioneered a new measure called data land acquisition, which ranks companies based on their contribution to local economy and a slew of other criteria. Those who have higher scores get priority in acquiring land, which is how this company got land to build a new factory last year. Instead of letting officials decide who get land, which may favor bigger companies, this system gives advantage to small and medium enterprises, many of which tend to be privately owned. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, private investment grew by 0.4% in the first 2 months of the year, reversing the previously negative figure. Events like this make private businesses feel seen, heard, and valued, and their confidence is crucial in driving growth and innovation that benefit the whole society. Cheng Mengfei, CGTN, Wenzhou, Zhejiang Province.
And China's top economic planner also stressed on easing market access and better leverage Nansha's leading role in bolstering the development of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area at a presser in Beijing on Friday. Located in Guangzhou, Guangdong Province, the district of Nansha has been designated as a key development zone under the Greater Bay Area. Officials said that they will support Nansha in conducting cutting-edge disruptive technological innovations and extending market application scenarios. And they said that efforts will also be made to leverage Nansha's unique advantages in reform and innovation, such as establishing an industrial robotics and intelligent equipment standards and certification system. Officials said this will facilitate the construction of a modern industrial system and a world-class business environment, and thereby enhancing the international competitiveness and influence of the Greater Bay Area.
We will continue to optimize the market access environment and emphasize the close integration of easing market access with regulatory optimization. Through innovative reform measures, efforts will be focused on injecting new momentum into the high-quality development of Nansha, thereby giving better play to its leading and driving role in the construction of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area.
And now for more discussions on China's initiatives to support the private sector and also enhance their capacity, let's bring in Mr. Li Yong, who is Chief Researcher at the DNC think tank. Mr. Li, great to have you on the show as always. So let's start with this. In what ways can these measures support enterprises in boosting their competitiveness and also adapting to this evolving circumstance?
Well, I think, there are a lot of measures being staged by NDRC and also the national government. And those measures are very important. And during the on-site meeting in Wenzhou, we specifically see three major measures or actions to be taken to help the private sector in many areas, of course. And the first one, I think it is very interesting, is the upgrading and the standardizing the domestic services sector. And this is, I think, is pointing to the future development of the service sector, particularly addressing the problems of aging population, particularly elder care. So this is one particular area. I think probably private investment will go into and tap into the opportunities. And the second one, I think, the action is, which is very important, is the upskilling of the workers of the private sector, and that I think is very important, particularly to those small to medium and micro-sized companies who normally don't really have the capacity to really train their workers, to catch up at the trend of the manufacturing, for example, skill or tech requirements. So this, I think, it is going to be very important, and according to NDRC, at least there will be 1 million such workers will be trained annually, and hopefully it will grow in the years to come. And the third action to be taken, I think, that is very important, is the training of the private entrepreneurs, to make sure that they understand the industry, they understand the micro policies, particularly economic development policies, to make sure so that they are updated, on the situation, and they understand the development trend. And of course, there are other measures which includes the equal market access, equal access to factors of production, fair enforcement of laws, and protection of interests and rights, and all those, I think, will help the private sector to grow on a very healthy basis.
Now, Ms. Li, let's move on to the topic of Nansha's reform. So how do initiative regulations like those being implemented in Nansha to facilitate market access in that district contribute to the promotion of services trade and also the expansion of high quality opening up?
Well, I think, this is, Nansha is a pilot, I think, is a pioneer in terms of institutional opening up. And you see many, I think, aggressive reform measures are being applied in this area to make sure that, it is going to be parallel with the highest international standards. And that involves many areas, and particularly the service industry. And Nansha has set targets in terms of developing, for example, professional services, financial services, human resources services, et cetera, et cetera. So, and tax services. And this, I think, works well hand in hand with the other parts of the Greater Bay Area. And that, I think, is also going to help Nansha's position as a comprehensive base to promote going out efforts that will facilitate Chinese companies to go out and invest globally.
No, great insights, and the Nansha example can also be applied later on in maybe other areas of China as well. Thank you very much. That's Mr. Li Yong, Chief Researcher at DNC Think Tank for us. China's foreign ministry said that electric vehicle is a globalized industry and called for specialization and cooperation among all countries on Friday. Spokesperson Lin Jian said that in response to restrictive measures taken by Western countries against China's EV exports. Let's take a listen.
Electric vehicle is a globalized industry. Only with specialization and cooperation comes a win-win situation. And only with fair competition can advance the technology. Protectionism and trade barrier disguised as fair competition and national security betray the principle of market economy and the WTO rules. It will work in short term but will eventually hurt domestic industry and consumer interest and delay the green transition of global economy and the fight against the climate change, as what it truly protects is outdated technology and what it loses is the future. In fact, there are voices against such protectionism within the US and the EU. Some automaker executives and industrial associations believe that Western countries should not be frightened by China's electric vehicles, and restrictive measures such as tariff will not help them in strengthening competitiveness. The popularity of Chinese electric vehicles is founded on innovation and quality, which took shape amid global competition, but absolutely not on subsidies.
Let's now move on to some other business headlines that we're tracking at the hour. China's foreign exchange market saw transactions worth 16.9 trillion yuan. That's about 2.4 trillion US dollars in February. This is according to the State Administration of Foreign Exchange. During the first 2 months of the year, total trades in the Chinese foreign exchange market amounted to 41.5 trillion yuan, or about 5.8 trillion US dollars. In related news, the offshore renminbi declined to a more than 4-month low of 7.27 against the US dollar on Friday. And Meituan, China's prominent on-demand food delivery company, reported a 26% on-year increase in revenue for 2023. The company's annual revenue reached 276.7 billion yuan, around 38 billion US dollars during that period. And Meituan's success can be attributed to its ability to cater to the diverse performances of consumers and merchants in China's rapidly growing local service industry. China's Hainan province, located in southernmost part of the country, is making significant efforts to enhance its productivity and prioritize technological innovation and industrialization. As part of these initiatives, Hainan is now venturing into new sectors like aerospace. Our reporter Aaron Liu recently visited Hainan's pioneering commercial space launch site, where he explored the latest developments in the space industry and witnessed the ongoing wave of reforms taking place.
5、4、3、2、1，点火！
In 2024, Arianespace, an independent aerospace company, successfully launched the Gravity 1 carrier rocket into the air near Shandong in a sea-based launch. The flight test mission was a resounding success, marking a significant achievement for China's commercial space launch industry.
This marks a milestone in China's commercial space launch. Such a new company has created so many new technologies.
Commercial aerospace has emerged as a prominent force driving technological progress. According to official data, China conducted a total of 67 space launches in 2023, 26 of which were commercial launches. These commercial launches achieved an impressive success rate of 96%. Xu Guoguang, the chief designer of the Gravity 1 project, shared his sentiments about this achievement as the designer of the country's largest commercial aerospace launch vehicle.
We have placed our emphasis on two key aspects in the development of our rockets: capacity and price. Our goal is to better cater to the requirements of satellite companies. At present, the price of our solid rockets stands at 60,000 RMB per kilogram, resulting in a price reduction of at least 40 to 50%.
Simultaneously, the city of Wenchang, situated on the coast of China, is witnessing the convergence of upstream and downstream industries. Welcome to Launchpad Number 1, a remarkable achievement within the Hainan International Commercial Aerospace Launch Center.
The construction of Launchpad Number 1 marks the implementation of several cutting-edge technologies for the first time. Notably, the introduction of a cone exhaust guide and the extrusion water spray system has revolutionized the cooling and noise reduction processes. The construction of this launch pad began in July 2022 and has now entered the final stages of equipment installation, nearing completion.
Both Launchpad Number 1 and Launchpad Number 2 have been meticulously designed to accommodate over 10 types of rockets from 9 manufacturers. By maximizing the number of rocket launches, economies of scale can be achieved, leading to lower overall costs per launch.
According to experts, the number of commercial satellites in orbit within the country is projected to exceed 1,200 within the next 5 years. This surge in satellite deployment indicates a substantial increase in launch demands. Aaron Liu, CGTN, Wenchang.
China's netizen population has surpassed 1 billion, leading to a significant boom in the e-commerce industry. Merchandise infused with Chinese culture elements have been steadily gaining traction. And in this year's Chinese government work report, there is a specific focus on nurturing Chinese brands as a means to boost consumption. Interestingly, many Chinese brands have already become a favorite among youngsters.
Wearing traditional Chinese costumes for photography has become a popular trend among younger generation. In parks and other public spaces, it is common to encounter young individuals donning traditional attire for their pictures. Additionally, there are numerous photo salons that have gained fame for specializing in capturing these types of photographs.
The embroidery on the garment is really good, and the red is very bright, going so well with Shanghai's Yu Garden.
The popularity of traditional Chinese-style wedding ceremonies is on the rise, with various elements of Chinese culture incorporated into every aspect of the event. Alongside this trend, Chinese-style ornaments have become highly sought after. Necklaces, brooches, and hairpins are uniquely designed with Oriental aesthetics in mind. In the Yiwu International Trade Market, there are several shops dedicated to selling these types of ornaments.
I visit this place once or twice a month, and I have been experiencing positive business returns as the popularity of Chinese culture-themed products continue to grow. Today, I'm here to purchase some items from the spring collection.
An astounding number of over 200 brooches, inspired by picking up our female warriors, are sold daily. In just a matter of hours, certain live streamers have the ability to sell tens of thousands of ornaments. It's worth noting that Chinese culture has also become incorporated into design of cosmetics. The combination of the dragon motif representing a distinct Chinese style, along with the vibrant Chinese red color, has led to a significant surge in sales for this particular cosmetic brand.
This particular box is designed to hold lip gloss, while this one is specifically designed for eyeshadow. In the design of the eyeshadow box, we have incorporated double dragons and auspicious clouds, symbolizing an abundance of good luck. This means that your good fortune is doubled when using this eyeshadow.
According to data from the General Administration of Customs of China, the export value of made-in-China cosmetics reached 26.3 billion yuan, showing a nearly 40% year-on-year increase. Notably, the value of cosmetics exported to South Korea and Vietnam more than doubled compared to the previous year. Song Yaotian, CGTN.
And still to come here on Global Business. We zoom in on the American real estate market as the NAR settles lawsuits on alleged commission inflation.
Every March, Beijing is the heart of a premier global business event, the China Development Forum. Here, the titans of global business and the architects of China's policy landscape meet. From the future of global growth to accelerating sustainable development, to spotlighting the forefront of innovation. CGTN brings you exclusive insights that drive change in the Chinese economy and beyond. Join us at CDF 2024, only on CGTN.
U.S. lawmakers are set to vote in a matter of hours on a crucial $1.2 trillion spending bill to prevent a partial government shutdown over the weekend. The bill was unveiled just 1 day ago, prompting the House of Representatives to expedite their review process in order to swiftly send it to President Joe Biden's desk on Friday. And however, it is important to note that even if the bill is approved by the president, a brief partial shutdown could still occur, as the Senate may take several days to give it final approval. Well, the funding from this bill is intended to support 3/4 of the government, including vital areas such as defense and homeland security. Well, buying and selling a home in the U.S. will soon get a little more interesting. The National Association of Realtors, that is the trade group representing real estate agents in the U.S., recently settled lawsuits alleging the NAR artificially inflated commissions paid by home sellers. The group will pay $418 million in damages and change how commissions are being paid to agents. The White House says the settlement will help to lower home prices, but this is far from certain. CGTN's Jim Spellman reports.
Home sellers in the U.S. typically pay between a 5% and 6% commission, split between the seller's agent and the buyer's agent. The home buyers generally pay no commission. Negotiating those rates was always possible, but seldom done. Lawsuits against the National Association of Realtors claim the group artificially inflated commissions. A recent settlement aims to make it easier to negotiate those fees. The suits claimed in part that buyers' agents steered clients away from listings that offered a reduced commission for the buyer's agent. As part of the settlement, sellers will no longer be allowed to advertise a buyer's agent commission in the property listing. The new rules are slated to go into effect in July. The settlement still needs to be approved by federal courts. Liz Brent is a real estate agent based outside Washington, D.C. She represents both buyers and sellers.
The settlement agreement does not say that sellers cannot offer compensation to the buyer agents. It says that it cannot happen through the multiple list service. There may be sellers that say, hey, if I'm lucky enough to have 5 offers on my house, then probably one of those buyers doesn't need me to pay the buyer's agent.
Which could force buyers to pay an agent out of pocket.
This change could present just more problems for buyers that are already strapped to come up with a 10% down payment or a 20% down payment.
The average single-family home in the U.S. sold for about $425,000 in 2023. To purchase a house at that price, a buyer needs $85,000 to qualify for a standard 20% down payment. Adding a 3% commission for a buyer's agent increases the amount needed by more than $12,000, and commissions are not currently allowed to be rolled into most mortgages.
It's another financial wall they have to climb.
Brokers' fees in the U.S. are among the highest in the world, and the settlement could lead to lower commissions. But to save money, some purchasers may end up buying homes with no representation, leaving them vulnerable if problems arise. The White House says the settlement will bring down home prices.
On a typical home purchase, that alone could save folks an average of $10,000 on a sale or purchase.
But many experts doubt these changes will do much to lower the price of a home in the United States. They say the real problem is inventory. There simply aren't enough houses for sale, and that drives up prices. No one is certain how the settlement will alter the residential real estate business in the U.S. New models may emerge, and fewer agents may be employed in the industry. Jim Spellman, CGTN, Silver Spring, Maryland.
Now let's take a look at what else is making headlines in the business world from across the globe. The Central Bank of Turkey has raised the interest rate to 50% to tackle inflation, and in February, inflation reached a staggering 67% on an annual basis. A tax relief package has been passed by the German government targeting small and medium-sized enterprises. The objective is to stimulate investment and foster economic growth. And in contrast, the Swiss National Bank has made history by lowering its interest rate to 1.5%. That decision marks the world's first major central bank to conclude a sustained period of rate hikes initially implemented to combat soaring inflation. And for the past few months, inflation in Switzerland has remained below 2%. And from one hit series to a potential contender, sci-fi fans now will be thrilled to learn that The Three-Body Problem is finally being released on Netflix. The series is based on the Hugo Award-winning novel of the same name by Chinese author Liu Cixin, and it marks Netflix's most ambitious and expensive sci-fi project to date. Cast of the show gathered in London before the premiere. CGTN Su Xiaoxiao has more.
When your consciousness ends in one world, it could continue to exist in many other worlds.
The Three-Body Problem, a heavily anticipated TV series, has made its debut on Netflix. The namesake novel, deemed unadaptable due to its complex storylines and esoteric physics theories, portrays a fictional past, present, and future, where Earth encounters an alien civilization from a nearby system of 3 sun-like stars orbiting one another. The cast of the series gathered in London on Wednesday, right before the premiere.
This looming existential threat and how humanity, reacts to this, and therein lies the drama, really, and it's really interesting that the irony is that it takes. Does it need to take this looming threat for the world to unite?
The Three-Body Problem shares the same creative team as Game of Thrones. John Bradley, who plays Jack Rooney in the show, has said the new series is more ambitious.
It's probably even more ambitious than Game of Thrones, if anything, because although Game of Thrones had a lot of scope to it, it was all set in one time and in one world, one geographical location, really loosely speaking. But with this, we flash back in time, we're in the present, we're in a virtual reality video game, which means we can show anything, any point in history, any point in the future, have our characters talking to anyone. So we were only limited by our own imaginations, really.
Liu Cixin, the author of the book, attributes its inspiration to China's transformative change in science and technology for the past decades.
The success of films and TV series is the product of the creators' efforts, but in essence, is the product of the era. China is now in a period of rapid development. The reality surrounding us and our society is undergoing constant change, creating fertile ground for science fiction novels and sci-fi films.
As China seeks to bolster the export of its literary works, Liu Cixin's science fiction has emerged as a catalyst for change. The question is the rise of Liu's work just a blip or a trend? Su Xiaoxiao, CGTN.
And this is just in. The United Nations Security Council on Friday failed to pass the resolution brought by the United States calling for an immediate and sustained ceasefire in the Israel-Palestine conflict. And with that, I'm ending this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. Thanks for being with us. I'm Lily in Beijing. Thanks for watching. Till next time, bye for now.